I am cautiously optimistic about the expansion of Diablo 4, and I'm going to talk about what needs to happen in order for this game to be saved. I think they're cooking. War plans alone in and of itself worries me. I saw nightmare dungeons on the preview, layer bosses, and some other things we've already seen before. The description here talks about modifiers. Nightmare dungeons have modifiers. Coveted rewards, their word choice in the description could mean anything, from loot to more stat points like in Altars of Lilith. This really needs to be something new in order for the game to improve and be saved. So alone, war plans in and of itself, if this was the only thing that announced, I'd be worried. However, something super important that I noticed were the updates to the skill tree. Sure, it looks okay. There's diamond-shaped nodes, there is circular-shaped nodes. I'm sure there's going to be some choice. It looks like in one of these nodes, all three, you get to pick between one of them. That's okay. Lukewarm at best. The biggest change I see here is that there are no more passive nodes. All classes have passive nodes that either increase damage or toughness. Some of them had huge critical strike multipliers, and a lot of the in-game progression revolved around getting gear that added ranks to those affixes. Shroud of False Death, amulets with plus ranks, and so forth. The developers are not just going to take these away because they add too much damage. So where did they go? Are they going to just add them back in? Is this an undercooked version of the skill tree? Or are they going somewhere more meaningful? Are some of the rewards in the war plan progression through different skill trees? It wasn't said on their official website, but a better place for them would be on their own tree, where you make more meaningful choices and progression throughout these war plans and advance your character getting more strength. Lately with Sanctification, they've been following suit with Path of Exile. Sanctification is a new endgame mechanic in Season 11 that allows you to modify your item randomly somewhat. This is very similar in Path of Exile to the Val Orb. You use a Val Orb, your modifier item randomly, and then afterwards it becomes unmodifiable. They have no choice but to follow suit on Path of Exile on some of these things. I don't think their new skill tree, if they have one, I think it'll be something in between. At first I thought that maybe they just took some of the passive nodes, turned them into modifiers on these skills, but then I took a look at the old Sorcerer skill tree, because we're looking at the Sorcerer here, and it doesn't look like that because there weren't any passive nodes like that. They would be adding more, and they wouldn't just be switching things around. So this is a lot different, and the passive nodes did go somewhere. Diablo 4 is in just fine a state for a lot of people. Some people just like to play it, hang back, don't worry about pit pushing or extreme endgame progression. There's also a lot of people who would prefer more from the endgame. For those people, this expansion is going to save Diablo 4. Those passive skill nodes need to be going somewhere meaningful. The Horadric Cube is going to play a bigger role than people realize in the expansion. If they're looking to save/renew the game, then this needs to be more than just what it was in Diablo 3. Recently, they took a nod from Path of Exile by making the Sanctification endgame mechanic. You randomly modify an item, and that was great. Introduces a little bit of variety. That should be just the beginning. There are plenty of different things you can do as far as crafting your items. And that's a key word they used here with the Horadric Cube, is explore a fresh take on crafting systems. If it were just the Horadric Cube from D3 with an extra aspect, they wouldn't expand on the keyword of crafting. They would just say, imprint an extra aspect on your items with the Horadric Cube. This alludes to this something being more. And thinking in the bigger picture alone, yeah, this would worry me. But they've already taken a nod from Path of Exile with Sanctification. I think here they're going to add more mechanics. Maybe you can add a greater affix. Maybe you can add an additional affix. Best case scenario, there will be new materials that you can take to the Horadric Cube to spend there for different rewards for itemization. I think Sanctification is kind of a YOLO random button, the final step. Maybe they keep that mechanic in the game permanently. Maybe they translate it in here, the Horadric Cube, in some way. I think they're going to expand on different outcomes of Sanctification and individualize them as certain materials that you can take to the Horadric Cube for crafting. Adding an affix, adding a legendary power, adding a mythic power, so on and so forth. And they can customize drop rates and rarity for those things accordingly in the war plans. Echoing Hatred is pretty straightforward. It is what it sounds like. I think there may be rounds, or it could just be a non-stop onslaught of demons that raise in difficulty over time. Last Epoch did something similar with one of their endgame mechanics. So that's my take. I think they're cooking. I am cautiously optimistic. I don't think it would be too hard for them to pull these things together and weave them together in an endgame system that isn't as detailed and in-depth as Path of Exile, but it's something. And unless fishing is incredible, level, this is what they're going to need. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. If you like this video, press that like button. If you like me, subscribe. Peace.